Seeing the group of people grinning wickedly before him, Zhu Mingyue couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Not a single one of them looked anything like celestial immortals. When Zhu Mingyue froze stiff in fear, Chu Shiren immediately raised his voice to scare the group. Believe it or not, this old man will send you all into reincarnation right now. At that moment, Han Ju suddenly appeared. His bright white robe fluttered elegantly in the wind. Chu Shiren, from today onward. He smiled, gentle as a spring breeze, his face radiant as he continued, You are responsible for guiding his cultivation. Teach him well. Zhu Mingyue looked at Han Ju with eyes full of admiration. Finally, someone with an extraordinary bearing had appeared here, peerlessly elegant, the true demeanor of an immortal. Yet a thought suddenly struck him as odd. Wait! What did he just say? Right then, Yang Tiandong popped up, pointing at Chu Shiren as he cheerfully introduced, Zhu Mingyue, if you don't understand something on your cultivation path, come ask me. I am your Grand Master. Your master's Dao attainment is far too shallow to teach you properly. Zhu Mingyue turned to look at Chu Shiren, confusion written all over his face. He pointed at him and innocently asked Han Ju, him? Senior, I want to take you as my master, not this mortal fool. The words froze Chu Shiren into stone on the spot. Crestfallen, he slumped to a corner. Black-held chicken couldn't hold back his laughter. Chu Shiren, who told you not to cultivate properly? Even a newcomer looks down on you. The golden crow chimed in mockingly, Kid, that so-called mortal fool may not be that strong, but even so, he's already at the void amalgamation realm. Even the sect master of Yuqing Holy Sect is only at that level. Yang Tiandeng pointed at Chu Shiren, laughing so hard he had tears in his eyes. Ha ha ha! Are you really sure you don't want to acknowledge him as your master? Zhu Mingyue's jaw dropped. Void amalgamation realm, looking past the crowd at Han Ju standing calmly behind them. He couldn't help but think, if someone mocked as a mortal fool is already this strong, then just how terrifying must he be? Han Ju noticed his gaze and smiled warmly. Inwardly, though, he sighed. The karma of the Buddhist sect is troublesome indeed. It can't be severed. Finally, he spoke helplessly, if you truly don't wish to, then leave the mountain. Zhu Mingyue panicked and shouted, I'm willing! I'm willing! I'm willing! Only then did Han Ju nod in satisfaction. With a Buddha patriarch blocking the front, whatever schemes the Buddhist sect plots will no longer concern me. Thus, the very first disciple of the fourth generation of bitter cultivation to become Immortal Mountain was born. Han Ju turned back into his cave abode. Outside, San Tojiao asked curiously, So, what's your specialty? Which path do you cultivate? Without real skills, you won't last here. Zhu Mingyue froze. Let me think. In his mind, he pictured a steaming bowl of noodles with every topping imaginable. The next moment, he actually pulled it out from his imagination. He grabbed chopsticks and began eating heartily. After kneeling and bowing for 20 years with no money for food, this is how I survived hunger, he muttered between bites. The disciples around him all paled in shock, unable to believe their eyes. Then, to their greater horror, Zhu Mingyue casually pulled out a super VIP AK from his thoughts. Combat weapons require some effort. The more detailed, the better. Once you have it clear in mind, you can pull it out. Unfortunately, my cultivation is lacking, so most things can't manifest fully. I only wish to take a master to guide me. The disciples were drenched in cold sweat. Yang Tiandong stammered, Murongchi. He'd definitely be a good fit with him. The Golden Crow asked nervously, And if you can't imagine a weapon in time, then what? Zhu Mingyue simply reached out and pulled down a dialogue box frame from midair. If I really can't think of anything, even this works. It cuts through iron like mud. He brandished the sharp-edged dialogue box with a smile. This is my trusty weapon of convenience. The disciples were utterly dumbfounded. Even that works. They cried out in unison. Zhu Mingyue pointed at the sharp frame with excitement. Exactly. With a weapon like this, critical damage doubles. Their cries echoed across the mountain. Someone shouted, Chu Shiren, hurry up and declare him graduated. Send him down the mountain to try it out already. Chu Shiren weakly protested. Wait. After 20 years of kneeling, am I really just raising a fool? Meanwhile, in his cave, Han Ju was secretly eavesdropping with his divine sense. He couldn't help but think, so this is why, in my past life, when the heavenly court tried to wipe out the demon saint, it was so difficult. Sitting cross-legged, he pondered. Old brother Tai Bai once described this as well. Even though the demon saint's rebellion against heaven was quelled, it could still give rise to unpredictable changes. The demon saint, an exalted great saint of the demon race, had led millions of demon soldiers in a bloody war against heaven. In the end, the greatest beneficiary had been the Buddhist sect. Rumor had it that both the demon race and demon court still held grudges, and the upper realm might yet be shaken by great upheaval. The heavenly court truly is complicated. It's better to remain in the mortal realm cultivating in peace, far from strife. He sighed inwardly. Even in Crimson Cloud Realm, there are so many heaven-defying figures. What of the thousands of other mortal realms? And the upper realm must be far more terrifying than one could ever imagine. Han Ju lifted his gaze to the clear blue sky above. Even someone as powerful as the Heavenly Emperor doesn't dare act recklessly. Instead of going to the upper realm to carve out fame, I'd rather cultivate quietly here in the mortal world. As long as I don't threaten anyone, I'll be fine. Time flowed quietly by. The spring scenery outside slowly transformed into a land of snow and ice. 7 years later, as the seasons turned and withered trees outside began to sprout new buds, a voice suddenly echoed outside the cave abode. Elder Han, something terrible has happened. Hearing this, Han Ju calmly asked, Why is the sect master so agitated? The sect master, holding a bamboo tube with a scroll inside, said with a grave expression, Elder Han, do you still remember Zhu Fan and Ma Fuqiu? Sitting opposite him, Han Ju raised a brow in curiosity. Why? The sect master placed the bamboo tube in front of him. Take a look for yourself. Han Ju pulled out the letter. Written inside were the words, To Jioding, I respectfully report, under the command of your sect. Zhu Fan and Ma Fuqiu suddenly ambushed our disciples while they were cultivating, seizing treasures and resources. If you continue to neglect your promise of aid, then we will have no choice but to unite with the 13 cave heavens of the 9 provinces and launch a joint assault. These words are no empty threat. We beg you to consider carefully. Signed, your ally. Han Ju frowned in surprise. So those two have run into each other again. The sect master, flustered, gestured with his hands. The number of people they've offended grows greater by the day. Some have even invited Yuqing Holy Sect to join in besieging and killing them. Elder Han, what do you think? Suddenly, the bamboo tube in Han Ju's hand shattered into pieces. The sect master's eyes widened in shock as Han Ju's cold voice rang out, Handle it however you wish. Grinding the fragments into dust, Han Ju's tone grew harsh. After all these years, they are no longer disciples of Yuqing Holy Sect. Do not keep tying them to me. If they act recklessly and turn into villains. His gaze sharpened like a blade. Then kill them. The fragments of the scroll drifted down like falling snow. The sect master bowed slightly. I understand. Even the hearts of men change after a few years. How much more so after 1,000? Elder Han shattered the letter, yet his tone reminded me of their old ties. He must have wanted me to protect them. The sect master sighed deeply. Humph. If disciples of my Yuqing Holy Sect do not even dare seize cultivation resources, then we are not worthy of being the foremost sect under heaven. As he walked away, he muttered, Just now, he gave me quite the fright. Does one really have to sever all emotions and desires in order to become immortal? Meanwhile, Han Ju opened his system and scanned for the images of Ma Fuqiu and Zhu Fan. Across the glowing screen, the words appeared, searching. Han Ju furiously pointed his nose at the display, cursing aloud, What trick are you two plotting again, forcing me to use Heavenly Dao command to clean up your mess? If you dare come back, this old man will kick you both to death. The more he spoke, the angrier he became, smoke practically rising from his head. Humph. Finally found you. From the looks of it, you're hiding in some canyon. I'll come and end you myself. But then, sensing something unusual, Hanju suddenly froze. Wait. This is a true immortal? Inside a canyon, Chufan and Mafuchio sat cross-legged in meditation. Golden sunlight poured down on them. From behind, a black shadowy creature crept closer. Its twisted, ugly form rushed forward, revealing a grotesque head. Muttering to itself, it said, "The blood essence is still insufficient to restore my soul origin. I even had to split my limited power to control them into slaughtering villages. Yet few with decent spiritual roots were harvested. Useless. Perhaps destroying a sect will yield enough essence. These two have strong life force, they'll do." With that, it stretched out its hideous blackened hand toward the crown of Mafuchio's head. "I must remain careful, lest the heavenly Tao of the mortal world discover me. A pity. A promising seedling." In the next instant, crimson blood suddenly splattered. The fiendish beast froze, horrified, as a cold voice echoed, "Where in Crimson Cloud Realm did a second Tai true immortal appear? Could it be the Buddhist sect, aiming at me?" Hanju appeared out of nowhere, his sword severing the monstrous hand reaching for Mafuchio. The beast stared in disbelief. "Since when? Buddhist sect?" "No!" Hanju's eyes were indifferent as he warned, "You've crossed the line." With those words, he unleashed the 9 dragons' demon-subduing seal. Golden light burst forth, blasting into the beast. The creature howled, "Taoist friend, I have not violated your mortal realm. Why are you attacking me?" At that moment, the system chimed, "System reminder. The undying Great Emperor has developed hatred toward you. Current hatred level, 3 stars. A while later, Shufan suddenly opened his eyes. He turned to Mafuchio beside him and asked, "What just happened?" Mafuchio blinked in confusion. It felt like a deep sleep. The two stood up in bewilderment, staring at the strange scenery around them. "Where is this place?" Shufan muttered. "Ah, I remember. Someone wanted to take us as disciples. He even claimed to be an immortal emperor." "Immortal emperor? Impossible." Mafuchio murmured blankly. "Where did he go?" Neither of them realized what had truly occurred. It was only many years later that they came to faintly understand. Back then, the mighty expert who sought to take them in, perhaps had vanished. Or perhaps had perished.